Hello and welcome to the Talk with Tariro. Today on the show, we are almost continuing with our discussion from last week where we are looking at women in entrepreneurship. And today we are looking at a woman who is making a mark in real estate. We have Loveline Sigora. Loveline, welcome to the Talk with Tariro.
Thank you, Terry, for inviting me.
Yes. We want to first know, who is Loveline?
Okay, Loveline is a realtor and a managing director of Home Pros Realty. We are based in Kensington, and I'm a mother of 5. My firstborn being 26 and my lastborn being 8. Yes.
Yeah. And what we want to know is for Loveline to now become a realtor. How did it all start? Where did you start from? Did you start as a realtor or it started from other professions?
All right. My life, I was actually an employee. I've worked in the government. I worked, just after school, I worked for District Development Fund, known as DDF, as a special projects clerk. Then I moved into non-governmental organization, specifically SAFATES. That's where I met my mark, because I was there for like 7 years. Then I moved into the private sector where I started working for Wunyani Corrugated as an human resources assistant. And from there, I took a break to be a mother. Mm-hmm. Then after that, I then wanted to have a job where it was flexible for me to do my school runs, to make sure I attend my children's events. I've got very sporty children and very academic children, so they are getting prizes left, right, and center. So I didn't want to miss any of those events. So I looked for something that was flexible. And I had 2 friends, two friends that were realtors that I talked to, and then they introduced me to a company where I then started working as a realtor. I had no idea what I was doing. That's the honest truth. I had no idea.
I like the honesty.
I had no idea what I was doing. All I knew was I could sell. But I had to teach myself, and not teach myself, but I was also mentored. And if I don't give my ex-boss the credit, that would be very unjustifiable. Simon Bendera, he's the director for Kalida Realty. That's where I used to work. And he's the one who taught me real estate, I should say. And then I also then started studying with the Estate Agents Council. And also, I don't want to leave out my aunt. I worked part-time for my aunt, Charity Matambanadzo, for Darwin Properties. There was more of an accounts clerk. But I was also, that's where I learned a little bit of real estate, but not much as I learned from Kalida. So whilst I was at Kalida, an uncle of mine came to me giving me a mandate to sell. And and for him, he actually thought Kalida was my company. I don't know, maybe it's the way I presented myself or the way I used to advertise, I don't know. But he's the one who then, when I was, he gave me a mandate to sell. And then when I got a client, I had to involve my boss, Simon. And that's when he realized the company was not mine. And then he says to me, "Oh, this time I thought this company was yours." And I'm like, "No." And then he's like, "Why are you not starting your own company?" I couldn't answer him. And then he said, "You should." And he kept on pushing me, asking, "Have you registered? Have you registered?" And my first excuse was, "I don't have money. I don't have money." Then eventually, I was like, "Okay, let me just do it." Then I registered the company. I registered the company in 2018. whilst registering the company in 2018, he gave me a task to start. He gave me a property to sell. I tried to sell this property, but I then told him that it's not selling because it didn't have the proper papers that needed to sell it. Then he then said to me, work on the papers. So I always, he's my mentor in business. His name is Demos Mbauya. He always throws me under the bus, Tari. That man throws me under the bus. There are times that I'm so angry with him, but I've learned that he's in everything that he says or he pushes me to do, there's a lesson in it. And eventually I then come out to be the person that I am. So that's how I started real estate. I registered the company, but I didn't stop working. I worked for the next 4 years.
Wow.
I was
We will
still there.
continue after the break. She registered the company, continued to work for 4 years. And if you remember our discussion last week with Emma, she was talking about the same thing. Started setting up the business, but still continued to work before retirement. So I'm sure the lessons that we're learning out of all this. Join us after this short break. Welcome back to our second segment as we continue with our discussion where we are focusing on women in entrepreneurship. And today we have Loveline Zigora, who is into real estate, and she's sharing with us her journey in the hope that it's going to inspire not only women but even men who might want to venture in this same field or another field. The aim of the show is we would want our lives, our livelihoods to improve for the better. So Loveline, you're sharing with us, you continued to work for 4 years after registering the company.
Yes.
Continue sharing your journey.
So after I registered the company, I stayed within Kalida. And because I was honest with myself, I knew nothing about real estate. So by staying as an employee, I was actually learning. And as I was learning, I also then, because there are a lot of compliances that you have to abide to when it comes to real estate. It's not just you having a company, a shelf company, and then you start running the business. There are a lot of things that you have to be compliant to, and they come at a cost. It's not something that you just wake up and do. So I had to raise the fees that were required. I had to make sure I had the right personnel. And then when I registered and I also started creating my portfolio, I think the mistake that a lot of us make in whatever business, we just start.
Yeah.
And we don't have any reference. We don't have any, at times, the knowledge. You need to school. So that's what I was doing in those 4 years. I was learning, I was getting experience. And then when I was ready, or when I thought I was ready, it was also difficult for me to say, I'm going to leave this job.
Yeah.
Because I think I was in a comfort zone where I know I don't have to worry about paying salaries, I don't have to worry about rent, all those running costs in any business. I was afraid that, am I going to be able to do it? So I took a leap. I didn't even have an office, but I knew I had to do it. So the first thing I did was resign. Tari, when I resigned, it's not like I knew where I was going. I just resigned. I didn't even, all I know was I had a registered company. And there's in real estate, you need to have a principal registered agent. And I didn't have, because myself, I'm still studying. I'm not yet qualified. So I had to hire someone in order for me to be able to operate or to be registered with the Estate Agents Council. So it's not easy to get that kind of person that is qualified. It's not easy. Most of them are engaged or they're actually running their own businesses. So to get one who's not, it's difficult. So yes, I did. I got a priya. We call them priyas. I got a priya. So now when I got a priya, I didn't have an office. So what I did is I used to, like, when I have a client, I would go and I would call my brother, Crosby Mashiri, and say, can I use your boardroom? Then I would meet my client there. Then I would do my work and I meet my client, we do whatever needs to be done. And so after one meeting with the client, my brother called me and says, how is business? Then I started explaining to him what the process I was going through. And then he says, why are you not having a full-time office? And I explained to him because I wasn't financially ready. Then he says to me, come and get a workstation here. That's how I got a workstation. So I started working in my brother's office. So because my job involves me going in and out, I had to hire an administrator. So I got an administrator, so we now had 2 workstations. Then Mr. Demos Mbaoya comes and says, I need to start a business in construction. Can you assist me in setting it up?
That's your mentor?
That's my mentor. Then I said, okay, I always like challenges. I never say no to challenges. So I got a mandate to look for a tenant in Kensington. And he wanted offices. My mentor wanted offices. Then I went to show him the offices. And then he says to me, I want these offices. But you need to also be there because your business and the business that I want to do work hand in hand. So we have to share the offices. And I was like, no, but I can't afford. I can't afford these offices. And then he says, how much can you afford? Then I told him what I could afford. Then he says, okay, go ahead. Let's get in. That's how I got into that office. So now there's an office. It needs furniture, Terry. I worked, I don't want to lie, I worked until I got the required furniture. Everything was set up. And guess what? My mentor did not even come to the office.
So he just pushed you to have an office?
I told you he throws me under the bus. He didn't come to the office. And he says to me, you pay the rentals, your part rentals, and that rent you collect from the other property of mine, use that one to pay the rentals. Then the tenant, they stopped paying rentals because they were having their own challenges. So I didn't have enough rental. I paid the deposit, I paid the rent, I bought furniture. And this is through working. I had to sell. I had to sell. You know where you eat, sleep, and talk real estate. That's the point where I got there.
Well, we will continue hearing from Loveline. Yeah, it's not easy. When we see people now thriving, the journey is never easy, but it requires tenacity. It requires that determination, perseverance. Join us after the break. Welcome back to our third and final segment where we have Loveline Zigora. So You continued now
Yes.
working after being thrown under the bus.
Under the bus. Yes, I continued. And then I remember those papers. I started working in 2018. Then it was a long, long process. I went from office to office, up and down, talking to people, doing whatever I could. Eventually, the papers were approved. And when they were approved, now we needed to finance the project. And there was $0. So I came up with marketing strategies to try and get the project to start selling. And the project did start selling. And then eventually we also then got a partner who then started working on the project. Do you know, as I'm sitting here, we got a compliance certificate, meaning we have serviced the roads, we have put sewer reticulation, we've put water reticulation, storm and drainage. And so we got our compliance last week, which was the 27th of June, since 2018.
Wow.
Yes.
That's how many
so
years?
now that's
5.
Yes, 5
Almost
years.
6.
Almost 6 years.
Yeah.
Yes, that's where we are today, and we are still selling. And I'm so it's I call it my baby. I ran with it.
Yeah.
I ran. It wasn't easy. It was frustrating. At times, I wanted
So what
to
kept
give
you,
up.
what kept you going?
What kept me going was I used to visualize. I used to visualize and seeing this project. And to my mentor, I kept saying, this is a generational, this is generational wealth, which you're going to keep for generations. And at times you also wanted to let go, but it was an issue of hanging on and pushing each other and encouraging each other. And we managed to do it. And I'm so grateful, you know. He gave me that opportunity to prove who I am. I never thought I could do that. I'm talking about a development with 265 stands for a person who didn't know anything called real estate. Now I'm ready to take on other projects. Right now I'm actually working with another one, which I'm talking about almost 2,000 stands. So yes, I'm moving from, I call it glory to glory.
Yeah.
Yes.
What would you say are the major challenges that particularly women in real estate encounter, or you feel maybe the challenges that apply to women are the same challenges that apply to men?
So in real estate, it was, yes, it was mainly for men, but now it is women. But there are a lot of things that it's like it's more men. I would find myself sitting, and I've got 4 engineers. They're men, and I'm talking to whether it's the town planners, whether I'm talking to the town secretaries. They're men. I'm yet to meet a town secretary, a female. I hear they're there, but I haven't met them in my field. In most cases, I would be the only woman in those meetings. And I actually used to take pictures just to show that I'm the only woman. So that was also for me another challenge. I would be like, okay, so I'm doing it, you know. Even if you look at the negotiators or principal registered agents, most of them are men. It's still men focused, I think. But women are coming in. If I look at the Estate Agents Council, now has almost, I think, 5 women are in there, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, so yeah, we are also dominating the real estate.
Slowly getting
we're
there.
getting there.
And what message would you give to maybe other women or young people who might actually want to venture into a field similar to yours, and maybe eventually even owning their own company like what you eventually did?
What I would advise anyone is real estate is not easy, Tari. There are times, yes, you can have the wet season where you're selling and you're getting and money is flowing. Then there's a dry season. When you get into the dry season, you have no idea where you're going to get the next dollar, but you've got things that need to be paid. So you need to plan ahead always. So my advice in any business, before you go in, you need to have a plan. You need to have a forecast. Need to know how you intend to pay the bills when you're in the dry season. So planning is very important in real estate. And after planning, you need to be on your toes all the time. Real estate needs serious marketing. It's not something that you market today and I always tell my negotiators that if you are going to wake up one morning and you have not advertised, you are not going to sell. It can't work like that. Let them know that you are a realtor. Whether you go to church, whether you go to school, wherever, make it known that you are a realtor. And after your marketing, you need serious persistence. I will give you an example of a client I had in 2019. This client would tell you, I've got so much that I want, and I want a property. Oh, that man. I only managed to sell him a property in 2022 from 2019.
Wow.
He was very selective. He knew what he wanted. And I think for me, I was just posting anything that I feel maybe could do. What I learned with that man is listen to your customer, listen to your client. People are very specific when it comes to property. I always say, ask madomas.
Yeah.
It's a big investment. Someone cannot come and invest 100,000 to buy something that they don't want or regret later. So you have to listen to a client specifications, follow through. If they say it's not the one, don't fret, don't be disappointed. Continue looking. Eventually, you will get something that they'll like, and you'll sell.
Indeed, powerful message there, take-home message from Loveline. Indeed, I'm sure those who were watching, those who were listening to her, we managed to get some nuggets that we can apply in our businesses, not necessarily real estate. Until we meet again next week, it's goodbye.